Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. This is the New Hope, and I've really struggled with how the heck I want to record this game. So first of all, I don't really know why I'm bothering. I mean, look at that little waypoint, the little arrow. That is going to be there from now until the end of the game. You are never going to get lost in Skywalker Saga. It tells you every 5 steps where to go. So again, I don't know what in the world a walkthrough is going to be good for. The other thing though is that I need to upload some videos. I mean, I'm going to be continuing Fallout, but you know, could upload something else like Lego. Lego's fun. And I guess some people might want to watch it. I don't know. So we'll get through the Skywalker Saga one level at a time, of which there are 9 times 5 of, so 45 total levels. And there's also the issue of the Star Wars music endlessly playing in the background. I'm really terrified. I'm not terrified. I'm just concerned that if I upload the video without commentary the entire stupid video way through, I'm going to wind up getting a million copyright claims. And a lot of people get confused. Like, claims and strikes aren't the same thing, so it's not bad really if you get a copyright claim. It's just a nuisance. You can't monetize the video. Blah blah blah. The strikes are the bad ones. That usually only happens if you're like, hey man, I wrote this song and I'm gonna charge people to pay for it or something like that, but that's obviously not going on here. So this is the brand new Lego video game from Traveler's Tales, of course, and it's been a long time since we've had a Lego game, like a good one anyway. The last one that got released from them, I think, was Lego Star Wars, not Lego Star Wars, it was Lego Movie, the video game too. So it was the second Lego Movie 2. Of the video game for the Lego game. And the first Lego game did a pretty good job following the movie, but the second one, it was just a horrible game. Like, completely forgettable. I've never heard anybody mention it since it came out. I feel like I wasted my time recording that game because I don't think those videos got any views either, but that's okay. And this one, I think, is significantly better. There's a lot more going on. We start off, of course, in episode 4, or whatever episode you wanted to choose. You could do 7, you could do 3, or 1, I mean. And then we're going to be playing as Leia here, going through the ship and learning about the new combat. So we don't have hearts. That's a big thing with this new Lego game. There's no hearts for the health, and there's no, what else? There's a couple of other things that I'll get to when I remember them. So we have health bars, and you'll have multiple health bars when you get enough upgrades. The enemies will have multiple health bars. The bosses will have multiple health bars. So that's a little bit different. And we also have lots of puzzles like this terminal here. So you're going to see me kind of failing a lot of these things early on because I'm not used to them yet. But there's not very many of these sort of terminal puzzles. There's really only like 5 or 6 of them. And once you do them once or twice, you've done them throughout the entire game. And also, unfortunately, that's kind of a downside to this game too, is that it's largely very much the same throughout. Once you finish one movie, you've pretty much seen everything that the game has. You'll probably stick with it for the cutscenes, which are hilarious. It's fun to see them having fun with those again, a lot more anyway. Compared to some of the previous Lego game cutscenes. They've always been funny, okay? They've always been funny, but it feels like in this game they've had way more fun with the cutscenes than they have previously, so that's a good thing. But the levels are not very creative. They're usually just long corridors, and like I said, you're going to have a waypoint telling you where to go every 5 steps. The puzzles in general are exactly the same. You're going to solve a few of them and they're going to be exactly the same throughout the whole game, which is a little bit of a downgrade from previous Lego games where most levels usually have lots of distinct sort of puzzles. And I mean, for the most part, yeah, you could say they all boil down to a formula, but I'm just saying, especially in this one, it feels like they only finished 5 puzzles and just, that was it. That's all the 5 puzzles that we get. Other than that, the boss fights, of which there are many of, I mean, it's Star Wars, those also, unfortunately, are largely the same. Once you've defeated one boss, you've pretty much defeated all of them. So we'll get to those as we get to them, but the point I'm trying to make is that I want to talk over these videos to avoid copyright issues, because of all that Star Wars music playing. Otherwise, I'll have to mute the video if I'm not talking over it, and I'm not so certain exactly how much there's going to be for me to say, because I think I'm just going to be endlessly repeating myself for 44 more levels once, once we do just a few of them. And here's another kind of cool thing, actually. So sometimes you'll get a choice of these little building options, so these little Legos that we get to put together. We'll get a choice of a Lego to build, and the one on the right that we built here put out the fire, and the one on the left will blow open the doorway. And both of these might lead you, I think the one on the right might take you to a collectible. And the one, yeah, it looks like that's just another hallway. So the one on the left is the one where we had to go. But a lot of times that choice, that Lego build choice, it's the same result. So it's kind of just a cool little fun thing that you get to decide how you want to continue. Most gun characters will be able to pull down levers with grapples, which is pretty similar to previous Lego games. And they've also changed up a lot of other characters. So we haven't played as R2-D2 yet. And once we play as him, if you've played the other Lego games, you'll probably remember that R2 could glide a little bit, and at least at first in this game, he can't do that. He has a jump. In fact, everyone has a jump. C-3PO could not jump in the older Lego Star Wars games. He can jump now. He also has some other abilities, but it sort of feels like they really made most of the characters largely the same. And you'll have to switch between them still, but not quite to the extent of the older Lego Star Wars games, and for that reason, co-op feels worse. So I'm playing single player right now, and maybe a little bit later in this level, or probably the next one, my brother's going to join me for a little while, and I'm going to complain about the issues with co-op when that happens. There's a couple of issues with co-op, but co-op feels less good. It feels very heavily favored in player one in this game, or whoever's playing is like the main character, and it just feels like they didn't do nearly as good of a job making sure that the second player or the other Lego that's following you around all the time actually had a part to play, because you can complete pretty much everything in a lot of these levels with just one Lego character, and every now and then, like I said, you will of course have to switch, but it's not quite as like extreme as it was in the other games, if that makes any sense. Okay, well, that's all the negatives. What about the positives? The graphics are great. I love the gameplay. We have cover shooters, we have shooter, and we have beat 'em up. So that's kind of a cool mix, all three in one. It's a very good gamer score or trophy game if you're into that kind of thing. It's, you know, not a difficult game, so it's pretty easy to get all the trophies and gamer score in. And it's hilarious. It's got a lot of game for the game. You pay $50 for this. I think it was $50 brand new on Steam. When most games are $60, you get a lot of game out of this game for $50. So as I said before, I'm cutting out all the cutscenes, and that was one that we just passed. Now we're playing as C-3PO and R2-D2, and there's not really anything super interesting going on here. Most of the game is going to be walking, and that's kind of a downside to me, but once you get past all the levels, which also have a truckload of collectibles in them, something I'll likely talk about more in the next video, there's a truckload of collectibles in the levels, and once you get, what was I saying before? Holy cow, I just repeated myself. once you finish the levels, and you start exploring the open world, I mean, there's just so much to do, there's so much to see. And especially for a Lego game, it's just, there's so many things that you can spend your time on. So it's by no means a waste of money. This game, especially since there hasn't been a Lego game in such a dang long time, it's a lot of fun. And it's a really good one to just sort of sit back and not think about anything and just have fun playing a game. You know, you just want to have fun. You don't want to stress about stuff. You don't want to try hard on a multiplayer game or whatever. It's just load up Lego game and play through some of your favorite Star Wars characters, which you unfortunately can't customize. I don't know if they're going to add that later, but pretty much every Lego game up until this one has let you customize your minifigs piece by piece, and you can't do that in this game yet. So that's a little bit annoying, but I heard the development for this game was also a little strained, so maybe we'll see that in the next Lego game again. Who knows? Until then, that's going to be the end of this video, and I'll continue my ramblings on in part 2.